Hey everybody, Rich here, South Florida Beekeeping with Rich. This will be a fairly short video, but I think a really important one. At least it certainly is a technique that is working well for me. I've been experimenting with it since the dearth last summer and seeing how using an inner cover instead of a queen excluder has given me a whole lot more flexible options and let the bees decide for themselves what they do. And it has worked out quite well, and I want to demonstrate it for everybody. So, in January, when I left, all the hives were pushed down to 2 boxes. I left about the middle of January, and I put a box above them, but I put an inner cover below the box, a standard inner cover below the box. Okay. Because it was still, we'd have 80 degrees one day and we'd have 62 the next day, and it would go down to the low 40s at night sometimes. And because of that, having a regular inner cover in this position means that the bees can do a much better job of keeping the heat in on the brood. And what was above this when I left were just frames of comb. Not to be a honey super, but rather I'm a medium beekeeper. Technically speaking, there are 3 boxes in a medium beehive because 2 of these boxes is the equivalent of 1 10-frame deep. And the 3rd box, of course, would be your 3rd one that you have some honey in and such, but that is still part of the brood chamber. So when I left them like this. And when I came back and we were finished with all of our camping and things that we had to do, it was almost a full month later. And when I came in here last week and took this and opened up this top box, it has a lot of honey in it, and it had obviously had a brood pattern in 3 frames in the middle. Sometimes bees need to make some extra brood, and being able to come up, lay some brood in the upper chamber, then go back down when some of the brood down here had hatched out is good for the queen. It gives her a chance to get up, get some work done up here, and then go back down when things have been opened up down below.
Would you say that's another form of swarm control?
It can be, because if they're not feeling pressured, she's got plenty of room to lay by coming up. That should also help reduce swarming, yes. So it is not time to put this on yet, but just to remind you what they look like. I am going to very soon now come out, and on all 3 hives, I'll be putting a regular queen excluder for spring on, and I'll be putting a regular box above them with drawn comb to, hopefully make some honey. But the purpose behind having this regular inner cover below this box was not to start the honey making process. I'll pull some of these frames up. Hopefully there's still a few here that have some brood in them. Thank you, dear. See, nice vigorous box of bees. Ladies, just behave and help me out here. Looks like I got to get out here and do a little bit of tree trimming too. Yeah. Okay, here's just a frame they're putting nectar in. Good to see. Because there's nothing in that feeder for them. Nothing at all. All right, nectar. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, just want to demonstrate that, yep, there is still brood up here. As you can see, they're backfilling with some nectar in the area where it's already been cleaned out. That's one. Nothing there. A little bit left there. Oh, a little bit more on this side. Yeah. Remember what I remembered seeing was 3 frames that had brood that was mostly hatched out, and that, yep, is what we've got here. Otherwise, we've just got bees socking away the nectar. There will be some bee bread contamination in that if they don't come up and use it later on, but they probably will. Once we go into summer dearth, they'll go, hey, wait a minute, we got some resources up there. But as you can see, the queen has gone back down.
Because they're backfilling with nectar.
Well, it's just that she's not up here refilling the stuff where the cells that have already been depleted of their brood are not being refilled with more brood. She has room down below. She's gone back down below. This is not and I'm sure you probably have figured out that this is not an aha moment for me. It rather is the result of a lot of reading in the old books, as is so often the case with me. Before they had some of our technologies, they had
all the new cool equipment and access to.
Well, it's materials as much as anything else. I mean, there was a time when making a queen excluder like this wasn't within their technological capabilities. And there was a time before there was even the real concept of the queen excluder. But this actually goes back to the skeps. They had already figured out, they no longer made skeps like a bullet nose. They made skeps with flat tops with a 2-inch hole in the middle. And then they made the next skep piece was just a ring and a board on top of that. And then maybe another with a hole in the middle of it, and maybe another ring on top of that. And that's where the bees would go up and make the honey. Sometimes the queen would come up, lay some brood, go back down. That brood would hatch out. They would backfill with honey. There was absolutely no reason why that same technique would not work today. And as I say, I've been working with it for some time now. I find that it's a very good technique. It's not a technique that makes the cleanest, purest honey that you're going to enter into a competition, because there's a lot of pollen in it, but it makes for a wonderful honey for people who want honey for their health, among other things. So, that's fine.
But it doesn't completely take the place of a queen excluder, because there's still
no, it's an adjunct to it.
One.
It doesn't take the place of it. It's just another management tool that you can use. And there's just this time when bees need to surge in their population a bit. And if there's no place for them to surge, well, then you're going to end up with a swarm. Whereas if the bees can surge up in there and then come back down when that surge, for whatever reason, is finished, hey, you didn't have a swarm. You have healthy bees. This is a great technique. I have found several applications for it. It doesn't replace a queen excluder when you're getting down into some really serious work. When I come out here with those drawn combs, I'm going to checkerboard some of those combs with some of these, and I'm going to move some of those honey cells back up on top of this so that they will be encouraged to come on. I might even move some of this brood up there if they're still around when I put the honey supers on, which should be this weekend, more than likely. But I just wanted to get that out there, that inner covers are not just for being on the inside of a telescoping cover. This was actually a bee management tool in the 1800s that was used quite successfully. And this is just, we've relegated it to that relatively insignificant purpose now, and it really deserves more exploration if you want to do natural beekeeping and if you want the bees to move in a more natural manner. That's it. That's all I had to say. Give this some thought and see what you come up with for different ways that you might want to use this in your beekeeping. This has been Rich, South Florida Beekeeping with Rich. Everybody have a great weekend.